This roughly $20 Neutrogena gel is branding as a super hydrating product. But did you know that it contains an awful amount of silicones and likely costs just a couple dollars in formulation ingredients? In this video, I will show you how big brands formulate for cost and marketing and how your indie brand can do better. And plot twist regarding this brand formulation update. Just a reminder of the basics to understand what I will talk to you about in this video. INCI stands for International Nomenclature for Cosmetic Ingredients. It's a universal language, meaning that whether you buy your product in Tokyo, Paris, or Milano, the ingredients are listed the same way. And most important rule, ingredients are listed in the descending order until you reach those used at 1% or less. The first ingredient of the list is usually 60 to 80% of your product, and usually the first 5 ingredients make up 80 to 90% of your formula. There is a twist. Below 1%, you can list the ingredient in whatever order you want. This is where marketing and colorants or fragrance usually appear. Now let's learn to speak chemical. It's easier than it looks. First, silicones typically ends with conol or siloxane. For example, dimeticone and cyclopentasiloxane are silicones. Second, regarding alcohol, they usually end with ol. And it is common knowledge that alcohols have a bad rep. But did you know that not all alcohols are drying? For example, cetyl alcohol is actually a fatty alcohol and it helps moisturizing. And finally, everything sounds fancier in Latin. Natural ingredients are often used with their Latin names. For example, Aloe barbadensis is the Latin name for aloe vera. Now let's talk about the heroes and the villains of cosmetic ingredients. So the good guys are the ones that you want to see in your formulation. For example, niacinamide for a great skin tone and texture, hyaluronic acid that can hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water. That's why it helps moisturizing the skin. And another one, for example, ceramides that support the skin barrier. Now the controversial ingredients. Pick your poison. Parabens. Yes. Did you know that parabens is actually very effective? And there are decades of safety data regarding this ingredient, if you remember my video regarding preservative systems. But some consumers avoid them anyway, to each their own. Sulfates. They clean well, but they can be irritating for some people. And the last one, well, it's more a group of ingredients, the fragrances and the perfumes. They contain many components, which a lot of them can cause sensitivity. I'm going to give you some key lessons regarding formulation, but first let's decode a real product, the Neutrogena Hydro Boost. Millions sold, but what's actually in it? I bought it once, years ago. Yes, I fell for the marketing when I didn't know much about cosmetic products. But my skin was really not impressed. Because it's a war zone here. It needs more. So the first 5 ingredients are water, dimethicone, glycerin, dimethicone, vinyl dimethicone, polymer, and phenoxyethanol. Remember that the first ingredient is 60 to 80% of your product, and the 5 firsts are usually 80 to 90% of your formula. And here there is 2 silicone-based ingredients in the top 4. So yes, silicones give, this bouncy texture, and while most people tolerate them, a minority with acne-prone skin prefer to avoid them. But the product is marketed as non-comedogenic, so I guess the product passed this test. Now it is strongly marketed as a hydration boost. So let's see where is the hyaluronic acid or its derivatives. So we have one, sodium hyaluronate. You can see that it's further down the list, indicating a lower concentration. However, even at a low concentration, it may be efficient as a humectant. So now let's talk about some ingredients that can seem like orange flags, but are they really? First, fragrance is present with not much details. Why? Because in the US, individual fragrance components are not required to be disclosed unless they belong to the 26 EU declared allergens. Second, blue one is a colorant and your skin doesn't really need it. And third, I have spotted 2 preservatives. Does it mean that one wasn't enough for the purity and the stability of the formulation? Indeed, they have used both chlorphenesin and phenoxyethanol. But actually, this combo is known to have a broader spectrum of protection, so we cannot blame Neutrogena for that. Cost-wise, ingredients such as dimethicone, water, or glycerin are inexpensive when they are ordered in bulk. Estimate cost for a production of a 50ml jar is around $2 just for the formula. But you pay $20 in retail pricing because you have to cover the marketing, the packaging, the formulation, the safety test, and so on. Okay, I'm sure that you can do better with your formulation. So let's check a few ideas about how. The base is everything. Remember that the first 5 ingredients define your product's function. See how water and silicones dominate in this Neutrogena Hydra Boost Gel. If your product is supposed to hydrate the skin, your base should actually be hydrating and not just feel slippery from the silicones. Here is an example of a simple hydrating formula. First ingredient, water, glycerin 5%, sodium hyaluronate 1%, squalene 3%, niacinamide 2%, phenoxyethanol 0.8%. I don't know what that would do, but in theory it sounds great. I told you about a plot twist regarding this Neutrogena Hydra Boost Gel. They have updated their list of ingredients. Why? Maybe the consumers were not satisfied by its hydrating claim? I don't know. So first let's see the new claims. Yes, the site is in French, I will just translate it. So, an aqua gel texture, intensely hydrating. But my mom always said evil hides in details. See here, they display hyaluronic acid plus amino acids plus electrolytes. So unconsciously, you will think that the quantity of hyaluronic acid is superior to the one of amino acid because it's just prior in the list of ingredients. At least in my head, that's how I see it. Move on to the next claim. 20% more of hyaluronic acid. And if you follow the asterisk, it is compared to the old version of the product. Okay, I'm almost sold. But now let's look at the ingredients and let's see if the claims match. Okay, dimeticone is still in the top 4. I guess that the silky, bouncy texture was a great experience for the consumer. We don't want to lose the consumers. See, they have added also more glycerin, so okay, why not? As advertised, they have added a bunch of amino acids. Oh, they have changed their 2 preservatives system into just caprylyl glycol, which has a less broad spectrum of protection. But they added a couple of mild preservative boosters. Okay, interesting choice, why not? Oh, we can see here they have added also tocopherol, which is vitamin E. We like that. But it is after the fragrance, so that means that it is a teeny tiny quantity of vitamin E, but it works to catch your eyes, right? And big disappointment. The hyaluronic derivative drops from the 15th place in the list to the 20th place. According to the claim, there is 20% more hyaluronic acid in this new version compared to the old one. Make it make sense. I mean, this claim is quite insidious. I don't trust it. That's my opinion. And that's how you can see how the brands play with formulation versus marketing. Big brands may advertise their new products with active ingredients that are actually in teeny tiny amounts. But see how my eyes directly went to the tocopherol? As a small brand, I will advise to focus on meaningful amount of active ingredients. Of course, if you can use an active ingredient in a tiny portion and it's still powerful, good for you. And remember the 1% rule. If you want to save cost like big brands, you can add all the marketing and colorant and orange flag ingredients below the 1%. Regarding the preservative systems, we have seen that using multiple preservatives can be necessary for stability and may not be a red flag. And finally, I will always advise you to be transparent regarding your list of ingredients. This builds trust, especially for indie brands. So remember that transparency beats marketing tricks, quality ingredients always matter, and simple formulas often outperform the complex ones. That was fun to play the formula police. I may do another video of this format. I'm thinking maybe about analyzing the famous La Mer hydrating cream, which can cost up to $2,000. Is it really worth it? In the meantime, you can watch this video about the 10 most used ingredients in formulation.